welcome back to the Blue Castle podcast. Whoa, I think I glitched. The Blue Castle podcast. I'm your host, Sarah.
I'm your other host, Molly.
And today we are continuing probably my favorite series we have. Granted, we don't have a lot of series yet, but I think this one's my favorite. It's our journey around the world of Disney World, the resorts. I'm definitely glitching today. I did have a migraine yesterday, so that might be why I'm a little fuzzy. But we are going to talk all about Wilderness Lodge today, and Molly's going to lead us through it. I'm so excited.
Glitch or no glitch, I like your energy, so keep it up. Yes. We are talking about Wilderness Lodge today, and if there's a little bit of pep in our step, metaphorically speaking, that is because everything we learned today is going to help make our next trip in like a month that much better, because we will be staying at the Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah, I actually had the thought for just like a split second, immediately realized it was dumb, don't worry. But I was like, no, we should save our Wilderness Lodge episode for after our trip so that we have our own experiences so we can speak to it, like the restaurants and stuff, which we'll still do that in our post-trip episode. But obviously we also need like all the history we can get before we go so that we can like experience it to the fullest, you know? So,
yeah, it's like when you're going to Europe, you want to do a little bit of research beforehand about like the history and stuff and the architecture so that when you get there, you can appreciate it. And very similar to beautiful ancient architecture and history is Walt Disney World.
Obviously. Like there's Westminster Abbey and there's Wilderness Lodge. Like,
and
same.
Could say which one's more of a treasure to the world?
Who could? That's a great question.
Who's to say? Not I, but I will make the case for Wilderness Lodge today, I suppose.
I've seen both. Both are glorious in their own ways.
Okay, let's get into it. Wilderness Lodge is a gorgeous deluxe resort at Walt Disney World in the Magic Kingdom area. So you'll also hear Wilderness Lodge and Fort Wilderness mixed up often. Like we might mix it up during this episode. I actually considered grouping them because they're two resorts that are so close to each other and feed off of some of the same theme. But they're different enough that I'm separating the two out. Wilderness Lodge is a deluxe resort. The cabins and campgrounds at Fort Wilderness is considered moderate, or it's camping. Like the vibes were so all over the place, we have to zero in. And in this case, Wilderness Lodge is the episode we're going over because that's where we're staying in a month.
Amazing. I'm so excited. I think that's a good decision also because there's so much. I don't know about the history of Wilderness Lodge that much, and I'm assuming they have kind of similar histories, but as far as activities and dining and that kind of thing, like they are very different, and there's a lot to unpack with each of them, so I do think they both deserve their own episode.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning. Honestly, I didn't do a lot of research about Fort Wilderness because I was focused on Wilderness Lodge, but it does seem like Wilderness Lodge was much later than Fort Wilderness. So I don't think they had the same birth. They are not twins per se. They are sisters.
Interesting. I would have thought the other way around, but it makes sense that you would have.
I'm just reading between the lines of the stuff that I read, and I think that that's true. I know
Wilderness. That makes sense when I really think about it, because I do think that those cabins have been there a long time. Yeah.
So
that checks out.
Anyway, it also makes out because when Walt Disney World opened, budget was a big concern. It always is, but like all things, over time you can put more into it, invest into it, and not all the deluxe resorts popped up overnight, but what is easy to pop up overnight is campground with a couple cabins in it. So budget wise, it makes sense the order that they did it. But back to Wilderness Lodge. I just told you we weren't going to focus on the Fort Wilderness, and then we focused on it for a while. Oopsies, my bad. But Wilderness Lodge celebrates turn-of-the-century national park lodges that were once a destination in the American Northwest. So apparently when people went to national parks in the Pacific Northwest, it was pretty common to go to like a lodge there that was kind of, I think, funded or ran by the National Park Service. It sounds like it's not really a thing anymore. I couldn't find too much about whether those were like actually deluxe or did Disney deluxify them, if that makes sense. But and by I couldn't find anything about it. I mean, I didn't spend that much time. But that's
Fair.
what the inspo was. The architect was a man named Peter Dominic, and he's the same architect behind the Grand Californian at Disneyland in Anaheim. And he's also the same architect behind Animal Kingdom Lodge. And he is not an Imagineer. He is an
Wow.
external hire.
Did he make a point to say that, or are you just making a point to say that?
The article said that because apparently they wanted more of an authentic feel. And Mike Eisner was very into architecture, or I guess he still is. I don't know. But Mike Eisner, yeah, he's the one that picked architects that were not associated with Disney in any way to do some of the deluxe resorts, including Yacht and Beach Club, Swan and Dolphin, or maybe it was just the Swan, and then the three that I mentioned before. So Wilderness Lodge being one of them. Some of them were external hires because I think he wanted to bring some realness from the outside world into the bubble of Walt Disney World, which I think was a good choice.
Yeah, fair. I mean, it's funny because it's like Imagineers are real people too.
But well, they're real people, but
I get how it's like becomes kind of a group think situation, and it's hard to like expand your horizons beyond what that group is comfortable with. So I like it.
Yeah.
Spread your wings and fly, Disney.
Mad respect to all Imagineers, but I think for this, he was going after specific looks and specific like feels of, I can't remember. There were some like recognizable buildings that this architect had also designed, and he was like, I want the man that did that to do these. So it was very much commissioned him based on his portfolio.
Well, I love all of the resorts that you mentioned that he was part of. So, and I think they're all very impressive and they're kind of my vibe. So
it's like
I applaud.
Nature meets ornate. That's kind of the vibe that he gives.
Yeah, very impressive, but also cozy.
Yeah. So I gave you a little bit of a teaser of the history, but there was so much to the history where I had to boil it down because unlike the All-Stars, when, as far as the internet knows, they just popped up overnight out of sheer necessity and no one designed them.
Yeah.
Wilderness Lodge, there was a lot about it. So Wilderness Lodge was originally dreamed up, as far as we know, around the time that Magic Kingdom opened in the early 1970s. I say as far as we know because they never published anything calling it out by name. But there were other areas, like there's the Asian Hotel, which is where Grand Flow is now. Although it wasn't announced like that, it was depicted in an aerial drawing souvenir of the future of the Magic Kingdom loop that was created in like 1973. So although Disney was never like, we're definitely doing this around the start of Magic Kingdom in the early 70s, they did have the concept in mind somewhere.
That's cool to know. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I can send you the article that I used to get a lot of this information.
You actually saw it. Slay.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Yeah, it was cool. It was originally supposed to be called Cypress Point Lodge. Couldn't tell when, where, why, how it changed names, but Cypress Point Lodge nonetheless became Wilderness Lodge.
Wilderness is just less pretentious.
Yeah, I do think that it would have been nice to differentiate the names between Fort Wilderness and Wilderness Lodge a little bit so people don't get them as mixed up, but it makes sense that they have similar names. They're right next to each other, but because of that and because of the theming, there's just a lot of things that are there to confuse.
Yeah, if you think about lodge versus fort, that part makes more sense. Or even like, well, I guess it's like Fort Wilderness Campgrounds, right? Or something like that is a full name. So it's like the campgrounds versus the lodge of the same wilderness. So it does make sense, but yeah, it's easy to confuse them if you're not really aware of what's going on, especially if you're like, ooh, I'm leaving Magic Kingdom and I want to just explore. What's this boat? Where does this take me? Oh,
Yeah.
like, and then you end up at Fort Wilderness and you're like, I don't know where I am and how to get anywhere. It's like not a resort. It doesn't feel like a resort.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't have a real problem with the name. It's nitpicky. We're like, ooh, Cypress Lodge. That's kind of pretty. If they got rid of Point, I guess. Anyway, it's Wilderness Lodge and we love her.
Queen, slay.
Queen.
Oh, wait. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important.
Yes, Sarah, the one in the front row.
Yeah. So you remember, Professor, do you remember when we were talking about Grand Floridian and her role in the friendship of all of the different resorts around the Monorail Loop Magic Kingdom area?
Her friendship?
Yeah, like as it like her personification. She was.
Oh yes.
What
yes,
was
she was
remind
dating
me.
the contemporary.
Okay, and so that means Wilderness Lodge and the Polly?
Yeah.
And Polly's a girl. She's besties with Grand Flo.
Yeah.
Flo and Polly are their names. Okay. And then like this is like Wilderness Lodge. He's like rough around the edges.
He's like outdoorsy, backpacky, campy,
hipster,
and like she likes that too. She's a little more beach in vibe.
She's Moana vibes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the kind of content that the people have come here for.
Exactly. I needed to clarify it for myself, and because it was an urgent need, listeners be darned, I needed to know. But you know what? They like it. Right, Mom? Anyway, I like that. Okay, so now that we've established where Wilderness Lodge is in the friendship group, he's dating Polly. He's a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Okay, let's go back to his birth.
Please.
In the early 1980s, when Epcot was about to open, there were kind of like two schools of thought. So Epcot was the second Walt Disney World park to open. So they were essentially doubling the amount of attraction of people to come. And they were like, whoa, number one, we need more places for people to stay on property. These people are coming, they got to stay somewhere. And number two was, we are running out of money. Epcot is taking so much money. So those two things kind of conflicted, and that likely, from what I could tell, that really ensured that Wilderness Lodge was built, but delayed the building of it to like later on because they didn't have the funding. So it kind of made them like start thinking and solidifying plans more for future resorts for people to stay, but they were like, that's for another day. We don't have the money right now.
Like as soon as Epcot opened and they stopped bleeding money and started making some of it back, they're like, okay, now we really got to put these hotels up ASAP.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure that there are other resorts that fell into that category, but today we're focused on Wilderness.
Wait, what year was that again?
Well, I was saying 1980s is when that started.
Okay.
But
fast forward.
I already talked about Peter Dominic a little bit. He designed it, not an Imagineer, but was handpicked by Mike Eisner because of his style. And after all of that, after it was designed and built, it was opened on May 28th, 1994. So,
wow. We would have been in the same class in school. Me and Wildy, Wilderness.
Wilder.
That's probably a better name. Me and Wilder. I mean, I'm assuming he would have been younger in the class. I'm in October 93, baby. So we would have been probably in the same class.
Yeah, you would have been besties for sure.
No, I would have been besties with Polly and Flo, obviously. But they were older. Oh, that's weird. Let's not think about that age gap.
He was just a baby. Anyway, okay. So that's what I have for the history. There's a lot of other stuff I could go into where like now they have DVC areas, which stands for Disney Vacation Club. Those are newer-ish than the rest of the lodge. There are expansions, renovations, things happen throughout the course of Wilderness Lodge's 30 years, but that's the gist of it.
Amazing.
Food is the next category. If you're staying at Wilderness Lodge or you're just resort hopping there, you're probably wondering, what do they have here that is scrum-diddly-umptious for my tum-tum?
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, let's start with the easiest option, which is Roaring Fork, their quick service option. It's a basic quick service, but with like a few special yummy additions. So I've looked at enough quick service menus to kind of know what the outliers are and what makes it unique. What I saw on the menu that was kind of unique to it, they had a blueberry cinnamon roll. Yum.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it looked really good. A grizzly bear claw, which is just like a cinnamon roll with like nuts and berries in it, I think. They had some breakfast options with cheese biscuits. That all sounded great.
Mm-hmm.
Lunch with their regular chicken tenders, they come with an apple barbecue sauce that I think they make in-house, which is really unique. And I love Disney chicken tenders, so that's something I'm really interested to try if we have the time. They have a wilderness salad, and I don't remember what was on that, but nuts, berries, feta. I don't remember what it was. It looked good. And then dinner, they have like brisket, burnt end, smoked sausages. I kind of expected a lot of more add-ons to be very barbecue meat-ish, but overall it's like a quick service with a little bit of a southern barbecue flair.
Nice. I think this is the place that also has iced coffees and stuff like that. I think this is where I've heard that there's like a s'mores
Maybe
latte, something like that.
I didn't look at the coffee menu, so it's definitely possible. And if you want to check it, you can.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the quick service. That's the quick and easy resort hopping. Just pop in somewhere, no reservation needed option. Spend $10 to $20 for a meal. Not too pricey, in Disney terms.
I did find the
Yes.
coffee.
Okay.
And I was right. There's a s'mores latte. There's the wilderness bark latte, which is chocolate hazelnut. There is a gold rush latte, which is a vanilla latte with caramel, and then some other kind of basics. But I think those are their three like signature drinks, and all of those sound delicious.
Well, hot dog. Sarah's going to have the s'mores latte. I can tell you right now.
I don't know. I might be feeling the gold rush. It depends on if I'm willing to do the like more. Like I need to see exactly what it is, because if it's like a mocha, probably not my thing. But if it's a latte, the little, we'll see.
Okay, so that's the quick surface. Then the next one we're going to go over is definitely, well, honestly, both of their other places to eat, both of their other restaurants are very unique and both look really fun. So, Whispering Canyon Cafe, and I'm just going to read what the Disney World website says. Round up the whole family for hearty Western fare with all you care to enjoy, skillet and shenanigans.
Wow. Impressive. What an accent.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. We're planning on going to this place when we're there in a month. From my understanding, the wait staff is silly, goofy boys and girls, and they'll tease you and they get the whole place dancing, and there's a lot of like running jokes and like, I don't know. It's just like, it doesn't take itself too seriously. They have a lot of all you care to enjoy, which is just Disney's way of saying all you can eat. Food options, and then there's also some a la carte things where you can just order exactly what you want and pay a little less. I'm not positive if you can do mixed orders at a table. Like, I don't know if your buddy next to you can get an all you care to enjoy and you just get a side salad. I don't know if that would fly, but
we may be figuring that out when we go, and then we'll report back on what the real rules
what the protocol
are.
is. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's one option. Super cute. I've heard of places like this outside of Disney, but a lot of times they can kind of lean a little more PG-13, maybe even R-rated with their jokes. Walt Disney World is not going to do that. This is good family fun. So that is a highlight, I think.
Amazing. I'm excited.
Yes. Okay, the other restaurant, the third of three, unless there's a secret one that I couldn't find, but third of three is Artist Point. It is a character dining option with Snow White and a selection of some of her dwarves, depending on which night. Dinner is a prix fixe menu. including shared starters, a choice of an individual plated entree, and sweet spells to top off the meal. The food, from what I could see, was not like anything people would rave about like crazy, but that's kind of common for character dining. You're there for the characters. The food is just like a lot of people pleasers usually.
Nice. That one's very pricey. I considered it because I was like, that's such a unique like character meet experience. And I'm not a big character person, but it's less awkward the more people you have, and we're gonna have 4. And sometimes when we go, it's just Molly and I. So I was like, this would be a good chance. And then I was like, nope, nope. I don't want to pay that much money for something that's more about the characters than the food. Oh, it might be really good food. I don't know, but that's not why I would be going.
Yeah, I just looked up the menu really quick. They have beef stroganoff, rib roast, a stroll through nature, which is just like a salad and vegetables, pork shank, herb chicken. It's maybe a little more elevated than what I described, to be honest, but I don't know. I haven't heard anyone rave like you have to go there for the food. And I consume quite a bit of Disney content. So
I will say, you mentioned missing a restaurant, and you missed a full-on restaurant. Did you say anything about Geyser Point?
Geyser Point.
Nope.
No, I didn't.
I mean, yep.
I did this research rather quickly, and I meant to go back through and make sure I didn't miss anything. But then real life happened, and I was just like,
that's okay. I'll fact check you. Well, the reason there's actually another one that's Territory Lounge is the lounge outside of Artist Point. But that's not really a whole new restaurant. That's just like a little taste of Artist Point with a bunch of drinks. But that would be a fun little vibe to go to, or like our dad might want to stop by there and get something. But no, Geyser Point is the big outdoor covered restaurant right next to the big pool. I think it's kind of in between like a big pool area, and then there's like Boulder Ridge.
You know what it is? I ignored it because it's their pool bar. Like it's their
it's way more than a pool bar, that's for sure.
Yeah, but generally speaking, we've been ignoring pool bars because they're usually so like standard. So I didn't even think about it. But
I would say this is somewhere in between a quick service and like it's somewhere in between like Whispering Canyon and Roaring Fork from like a dining experience perspective, because you get seated and you have like a waiter and you get served and the food is elevated. Like I know they have not elevated, but like a little bit more than a basic quick service.
Yeah.
And
the options look really good.
It's really good. Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now. Like it's nothing that's gonna blow your socks off as far as like being unique in the menu, but they do have like a steak salad option, some burgers that look good, like a bison burger, which is a little bit unique, fried chicken sandwich. Basically, it's good hearty American food, and it's gonna run you roughly $20-ish a plate.
That makes sense. I've heard really good things. I can't remember, something went viral about them having like the best burger at Disney World. It might be the bison burger, it might be a different one. And a YouTuber I follow, Becca Hart, she loves there's like a salmon, there's a salad with like a baked salmon or something, seared salmon on top, that not seared, I don't know, cooked salmon on top that looked really good, that she says is like her favorite thing. So I want to try that when we go there. And I mean, I've been there before, and I've tried like just their appetizers. I got like a snack. I don't really remember. I think it was barbecue adjacent, but it was really good, and the vibes, they were just so good. I just hope it's not so hot that we're like, nah.
Yeah, we'll see. We were only going to be at Walt Disney World for really like
3 full days.
Is it 3 full days? We get there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, we leave Monday. So 3 full days we're there, and one of those days is going to be like fully in the park. So, I mean, we have 2 days. We might have a chance to eat there. Who's to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
If anything, it might be like a little snacky, like splitsies situation.
Yeah, it might be a vibe, especially for hanging out by the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the pool, wow, that leads perfectly into our next category. So thank you for providing the segue, Sarah.
You're welcome.
In the lobby of Wilderness Lodge, they have a bubbling hot springs in quotation marks, because I don't think it's really a hot springs, but it flows from the lobby and into their main pool. By the pool, they also have a 120-foot geyser that they call Fire Rock Geyser that erupts every hour, 120 feet into the air, every hour from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So obviously, it's a natural geyser that just happens to only work regular working hours.
How incredible. It knows the human experience enough to know to cut it out.
Not disturb people. Yeah. At night.
What a considerate geyser.
I thought that was pretty funny when I saw that.
Geyser would be such a great name for Fort Wilderness personified. Geyser.
He's a good geyser.
What a good geyser. I don't know. I like Wilder. Okay, proceed.
Okay. The main pool is called Silver Creek Springs Pool, and it has a slide that goes through like a cool rock formation into the water. It also has a hot tub. Something else said that it has a cool tub. I don't know if that's true, and also I don't know what that means.
I literally thought about that the other day. I was like, Disney World needs pool temperatured hot tubs in the summer are just a bad idea. Just stop heating them up in the summer and let the adults still sit in there with the jacuzzi going, and it'll be way more comfortable. If they actually have that, that'd be great.
I don't know if this is fully true. I think that some of this information from this website was out of date. I guess I should have that disclaimer on here, because they also mentioned that there is a full spa, and the spa has not been around for a while, from what I can tell.
Well, it could also be that a hot tub was just like broken, so it's like a cool tub, when in reality
that's
it's true. I don't know. I'm just assuming a cool tub is like normal pool temperature. It could be like an ice tub that was part of the spa for some. I don't know. Anyway.
Just take everything I say with a little grain of salt. I am definitely describing the vibes and the overall.
Yeah, we're here for the vibes, not for the.
Lodge.
Our professor has no credentials. She's just for the vibes.
Welcome to my Google search. This is basically what it is.
I like it.
Okay. We talked about that. Oh, it also has like a kids area, which I assume is like a splash pad or something. One day I will hopefully care a lot about that type of feature, but today is not that day. So, kids area, whatever that means.
Amazing.
There is a quiet
pool.
There's a quiet pool. If that high energy is not your thing, at the Boulder Ridge area too, which is the area that we're going to be staying in. It's a Disney Vacation Club area.
Gotta check out both.
Yes. And then as far as other amenities and entertainment, I was pretty impressed, because I thought that a lot of stuff in the area was like a lot of the activities were for wilderness, or the cabins at Fort Wilderness and the campgrounds. But there was quite a bit for Wilderness Lodge too, including a jogging trail that's 2.5 miles long.
Boo.
Just kidding. Which, every place has sidewalks that go around it that they might call a jogging trail, but like I think at Wilderness Lodge it's probably a little bit more tree-y.
Yeah, it's probably a little more scenic. Probably even higher risk of alligator sightings. Maybe some other nature.
It's probably much too dangerous to run. Don't you dare try to exercise.
Don't do it. Well, actually, it's a legitimate I'm glitching again. A legitimate thing.
A legitimate.
Because I thought about this the other day. I'm like, people who are going for Run Disney events, they actually need to know that they're going to have somewhere around their resort to run. I guess every resort's going to have somewhere to run, but for their little practice runs, or their little get the lactic acid out of their body run, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I suppose that might be what a runner would encounter. Who's to say? I don't know.
We do have aspirations to one day be runners enough to at least run the 5K. I would like to do do they have a 10K and a half?
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe the 10K, the half seems a little much. We'll see.
Yeah. I will say I've started working out a little bit more. Not to brag, not to brag. And I usually start off with a 5-minute jog to warm up, and it used to kill me. And now it kills me slightly less. I like a
Wow.
10-minute mile. So I run like a half mile. And I'm proud of myself afterwards.
Good for you.
Anyway, speaking of movement and physical exercise, they also have like volleyball courts that are complimentary. They have an outdoor movie and campfire every night with like a rotating movie. I'm assuming it's always Disney. Um, you can also book guided fishing excursions. You can do boat and bike rentals, and you can also book an hour-long lodge art tour, just going around Wilderness Lodge itself. And I guess there's a good amount of art in it, and at least enough to fill up an hour-long tour. So
You
that was interesting to me.
you know who does that?
Who?
It's the senior citizen DVC owners
That's probably true.
whose
I
home
thought about
resort is Wilderness Lodge because they're invested. They care about Wilderness Lodge, and they care. They've seen the art pieces and they want to know more.
yeah, I feel old now that you say that, because I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting, but I wouldn't want to like pay money, and I wouldn't want to be required to stay there the whole time. If there was a group walking by and a tour guide explaining a piece of art, I would like pop over
Yeah, I
for
want
a
that
few
to be
minutes to
like a
listen.
magical moment for like 5 minutes max to just pass by. Like, but I'm also just not the type of person to like, if there's like a tour involved with a museum or like I don't know, anything like that, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm just gonna breeze through it myself. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I like to think that there is an artsy side to me, but I really struggle to find it. It
Yeah.
only comes out when I feel melancholy.
I I like creative things, but yeah, like art, like works of art, I get bored pretty fast unless they're like really interesting or they have like a real, I don't know.
Yeah, like I would walk by and I would want to know like maybe the artist's name, maybe like a fun fact about it, and then whether I think it's pretty or not. And then I just want to walk away. I don't want to hear
If you
years of
create
data.
like a really entertaining like docu-series or documentary on backstory of the artist, then I'd be much more intrigued.
Yeah, yeah, they have to serve it to me in a very digestible way for my simple brain.
Exactly.
Um, other than that, they also have some playgrounds for the children. The children.
Amazing. I think of those things, the one that I had no idea about is the fishing excursion situation.
Excursions.
That
Yeah, I'm guessing
seems
that's not
interesting.
cheap. I did not look into that much further because I A am not a fisher,
Yeah,
and
I'm not.
B I know I'm not going to pay the price for that.
No, I don't. I wouldn't do that. I would much rather do like get a large group together and do the fireworks boat viewing dessert thing that
Hmm.
happens out in front of Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I don't
Otherwise,
know
meh.
a ton of details about that, but you can book for an absurd price per person to go out on a boat into the firework viewing area
I think it's $400
during.
and it's a max of like wait, is that right? A max of 10 people? I could be wrong. I don't want to
I think
misquote
you
it.
can also book per person. I've heard people just going with like one other person before, and I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure they didn't get the whole boat for two people. I don't
They
know.
could have.
Maybe. Um, yeah, so there's a lot of fun things to do. We've talked about being in the Magic Kingdom area. It is the only deluxe resort in the Magic Kingdom area to not have a monorail, but fear not, you're still just as connected, really, because there's a boat dock or whatever, and you can get boats to take you directly from Wilderness Lodge right up to the front of Magic Kingdom. Same thing for Fort Wilderness. So, from what I could tell, the boat makes kind of like a triangle where it goes Magic Kingdom to one of the wildernesses, then to the other wilderness.
Yeah.
and then back to Magic Kingdom.
There were some times that it was just a one way, and I think that's just when it's busy enough that they like will continue to fill up the boats. So they just are like, this one's only going to Wilderness or this one's only going to Fort. But I think it just depends on the time of day and the crowd levels. The other thing I was going to say is they also have buses. You maybe were about to mention that, but especially when like weather gets bad, the boats are one of the first things to stop. So the buses, they're always an option because obviously not everyone's going to be like comfortable on a boat or just for a variety of reasons may not want to do that.
Yeah.
But buses are also an option, and they're very close. There's a little underground, I don't know, like a little tunnel, a miniature tunnel that goes under the water of the lagoon. So the buses are like super close to Magic Kingdom. So it's a short little ride. And you share that bus system with the Contemporary.
Yeah. Talking through that, I got reminded of a fun kind of history fact of the reason that Wilderness Lodge was chosen and actually brought to life, as opposed to some of the other concepts for Magic Kingdom area hotels, is because it's not on the monorail loop. So a big advantage of that versus, I think there was definitely a plot of land between the Poly and Grand Flow that's now going to be like a DVC tower and then some other stuff. And then there was like one other plot of land, but all of those would have been on the monorail loop, which probably would have meant that the monorail itself was shut down for an extended period of time, and it would be more disruptive to the guest. So they were like, all things equal, let's just do one where we don't have to shut down the monorail while we build it.
Nice. Love
Yeah.
that. I mean, it works out fine. It is kind of unfortunate how close it is to the monorail and the fact that you can't quite utilize it, but you have plenty of options, so it's fine.
Yeah. And if you want to feel like you're in the loop of the monorail area, I think that vibe's still probably very achievable. You just get on one really short boat ride or bus ride, I guess, to Magic Kingdom, and then you can get on the monorail from there.
Mm-hmm. Or walk.
Well,
yeah, you can walk from the bus stop to the Contemporary.
Oh, I hear what you're saying. I thought you meant walk from Wilderness Lodge to Magic Kingdom. And I was like,
yeah,
I don't know about that.
No, I mean, they could make it happen. They would just have to make like a bridge and like a lot of walking paths, and they'd have to clear out some trees. Yeah.
It's pretty far for a walk. It's very short for a bus ride.
Yeah. Yeah. It's closer than you think though, really. Like whenever I think they did a good job of like leaving. They were like strategic probably in leaving certain areas of the actual wilderness of the little forest over there. It's not that little. It's like those are some old trees and some old nature. And I think they left a lot of it there, obviously for conservation reasons, but also to strategically make you feel when you're at Wilderness Lodge like you're super separated from the rest of Walt Disney World. But then like as soon as you kind of start to escape the bubble of Wilderness Lodge, you're like, wow, I'm really like right there. It just,
yeah,
you feel like you
have an illusion of seclusion.
Yeah. And this is a place where I don't remember which time we went, but it was like you were like, I feel like in another world. Like most of the areas in Disney World, you're like bopping around. Everything kind of has similar energy. You're like, it's all very much like people, like busy. And I don't know, something about it, the energy's all the same. And then you get to Wilderness Lodge and you're like, I think my brain got tricked into thinking I'm like an hour away from anywhere like civilized.
I think Fort Wilderness is even more like that.
Yeah.
Fort Wilderness feels I think we were at Fort Wilderness whenever I said that, but still same vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the rooms. So I've convinced you. You're going to go there, right? So now I'm going to tell you all the different options for places you can stay. So first off, they have standard rooms, most of which have 2 queen beds. Some have 1 king. And then there are very select few that have 1 queen and then 1 bunk bed. And those are incredibly popular. And those book up very early for parents with their kids, usually, I would guess. So for all of those standard options, it's like generally 600-ish to 700-ish per night, or like 500, or I'm sorry, not 500, or well over $800 for a fireworks view. Sarah and I
Whoa.
were able to have a fireworks view at the Poly a few years ago for like 600, I want to say. So prices really have gone up, because I don't think that I don't think Wilderness Lodge is as expensive as the Poly usually. So that tells me that everything has gone up in price significantly.
Yeah, that's scary. I don't like that.
Yeah.
It makes me feel less dumb for doing that then, though.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
like,
so
well, at
too.
least we beat inflation a little bit.
Yeah, and I just looked for a random week in June, but it was weekdays. And I don't know. That's kind of what I'm seeing for the prices in general. Very expensive. We're not saying that this is a value resort in any way. It's not. This is a go all out resort, or maybe you're rich and this is nothing to you.
Or you're smart like us.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a second. They also have some fancy club level suites that I will never be able to afford or justify paying for. So that's like, there's some honeymoon suites, and then a couple of other suites that are unique ones with fun outdoorsy names that are beautiful and ornate, and thousands of dollars per night.
How many people do
And
they hold? Are those
I don't
like
know.
massive, or are they just fancy?
I think they're just fancy. I mean,
Oh, I want to
there's
see
some
it.
that,
I'm sure there are YouTube videos touring them. I need to look those up.
yeah, I kind of avoided it because in my mind, I want this to like prepare us for our time there, and maybe prepare our listeners for a future trip to go there. And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know if our listenership is the type to splurge quite that hard.
Yeah, I have a feeling that group is they're probably, you know what's actually crazy is they're probably not Disney adults, the people who stay there. They're probably people who are like, my daughter said she wanted to take her kids to Disney, so I'm paying for a big trip. Here you go,
Probably.
travel advisor. Find me the most
Whatever it
fancy.
takes. We want to stay right next to the place with the castle.
Yeah, but we like, these are the vibes, blah blah blah. Here's my credit card. Oh man, I don't know how that stuff works. Like what kind of people are staying there. I think also it's probably gifted for like special scenarios or something, but I don't know. What if we just magically got an upgrade to something like that someday? Let's manifest it.
That'd be really nice. I hear about things like that happening, magical room upgrade, whatever, but I don't think it's ever going to happen for us, and that's okay.
Molly, you're the opposite of manifesting.
I am managing expectations, Sarah. You manifest, and I will manage our expectations.
I think if we ever get an upgrade, it'll be something to do with either our dad or our niece and nephew. Because our dad just somehow gets special things. He looks like Santa Claus, so people treat him like they want to get on the nice list or something. And then our niece and nephew are just so stinking cute that maybe they would get an upgrade if they were really well behaved. Banana, you hear that? Maybe someday.
Or it would be really dumb luck where like they're like, oh shoot, how did we run out of the standard room? All we have left at this one point in time is all we have left for you is the presidential suite. I'm so sorry.
Something kind of like that happened to Mom and Dad and I in London, except it was just one bump up from our original room booking, but it was nice.
I think us getting pixie dusted honestly would be like, oh, we're out of standard views. No, I'm not even thinking one bedroom. I'm thinking they give us like a fireworks view, which would also be very cool.
I don't think they have that at Boulder Ridge.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know. We will see. So to wrap this whole thing up, we've talked about how expensive it is. We've talked about how cool it is, all the things you have to do, the great vibes. And now I want to end it with, okay, how can we make this real? How does this maybe become a little bit more financially possible? And this is getting into the way that we're doing this trip this time. and it is using DVC Rental Store. So not a sponsor, but you can rent DVC points through either David's Vacation Club Rentals, I think that's what it's called, or DVC Rental Store. And as a rule of thumb, from what I've seen, basically all of the rooms are going to be about 40 to 50% cheaper than if you were to just book them through Disney.
Yep.
I mean, maybe one day we'll become actual DVC members, but until then, basically what DVC rental is that there's someone who has like a Disney timeshare. They have purchased a certain amount of points every year, and those points they can redeem for staying on property at many Disney places, including of course Walt Disney World. They can only roll over so many of those points, and when they're in a use it or lose it situation, their other option is to sell those points. And that's where people like us benefit from people who have DVC and don't have a way to use all the points. And then we can get our grubby little hands on their points as the poor little people we are and get a good discount.
Yeah. I think David's Vacation Club Rentals was the first company to stand up that does that, but there are more than just those two now.
Those are the two that I've heard solid things about. The point is you can save money by utilizing those resources. They have two different DVC areas. So those rooms are all going to be for Disney Vacation Club or the renters like us. They have standard rooms, one queen bed, one queen Murphy bed. So those are the pull down ones to give you more room. And also like a twin sized pull down Murphy-ish bed. So that's the setup that we're going to be in when we're there with our parents. The one queen, one regular queen, one queen Murphy, and then the twin pull down. They also have one bedroom, like bedroom areas with a kitchen, and those are nice as well. They're $800 to $900 ish per night before DVC. And those are a little wonky to me because yes, they have a full bedroom, but they don't sleep any more people. I think they might actually only sleep 4, whereas the standard rooms sleep 5. Because I don't think they have the twin pull down.
I don't know.
Kind of weird. And then they also have they advertised 2 bedrooms, and those aren't really a 2-bed. That's just a 1 bed and a standard room that are connected.
Interesting.
But it's an option. You can book it, and yeah. I just realized because I was doing like the walking tour, or like some of the websites will let you like do like the virtual tour of the room, and it's clearly just a 1 bed setup and then a standard suite set up with, or in a standard room set up with an adjoining door between them. So
that would be so disappointing if you were expecting like a full-on living room, because a 2-bedroom implies that there's like a core living room and kitchenette area. But
I mean, the 1 bed does have a full kitchen and a living room.
Yeah, but the 2-bedroom sounds like it doesn't.
Yes, it does, because it is a 1 bed adjoined with a standard.
Oh, that's better than I thought. Okay, yeah.
It's just not like unique. So if you're like, oh man, I've stayed in a standard room and I've stayed in one of their 1 bed suites.
Yeah.
I really want to see what the 2 bed is like. It's not different.
The 2-bedroom.
It does have 2 bathrooms, so that's nice.
Yeah. Well, the 2-bedroom, to me, that's an upgrade. I get what you're saying, but yeah, it's better because it has 5 beds. It would sleep 5 in part of it, and then it would sleep 2 in the other bedroom, technically. And then the living room probably has like a pull-out couch, I would guess.
The living room, at least in the Boulder Ridge area that has been renovated, has a Queen Murphy bed.
Yeah, that checks out.
So it would sleep 9 by my count, unless they're somewhere they've snuck in another like twin pull down, which is possible, but I didn't see it.
Cool.
Okay. As of right now, I think I do recommend the DVC rental store. I've heard great things about it, but I'm recommending it based on word of mouth from other people, not from my own experience. So stay tuned to our post trip breakdown to hear whether it actually worked out for us and what we think about it afterwards.
I mean, I've been the one who booked like with them and have been doing the emails and kind of getting it on the app and everything. And it's been really easy. It's not quite as self-serve as like, just booking on the website or any website directly, but it's worth a little bit of back and forth in emails and then kind of going to a different portal to pay and things like that to save this much money. And they've been really responsive. So as long as you're like, okay, I'm sending this email, let me remember to, if you don't check your email that much, just remember to check it again the next day and there will probably be a reply. So really easy, very quick. And so far, I mean, we've had no problems. We can see it on the My Disney Experience app, which is very comforting to know, we're legit. And if we needed parking, we would have that showing up on the
Yeah,
app
it just
easily.
looks like any other booking right now. So it's not like you're going out there and hoping this is legit. Like Disney's confirming it. You can look at the countdown to your stay just like any other day. And by my quick math, if we were going to spend $600 a night regularly, which is kind of the price that I'm seeing, it's 600 to 700 a night standard, and we spent 1,000 because it was 250 per person, and there's 4 of us. This is for 3 nights. We're saving $800 for 3 nights. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Go us. Wow.
And that brings it down to like about $250 to $300 a night for our stay there, I believe, which is, it's not a cheap stay. There are cheaper places we could stay, and we have stayed that are also enjoyable. This is a little bit of a splurge trip, but it's a splurge trip, but done smart.
Yeah, it's a deluxe experience for the price of a cheap moderate. Because there are more expensive moderates than what we paid for this. So
they're more expensive value resorts too if you're going to do a suite.
True. Yeah.
But on that note, any closing thoughts or love letters to Wilderness Lodge?
Well, I'm very excited. It's going to be awesome. I have been seeing a little bit more content. It's like the algorithm of the world knows that we're about to go on this trip to Wilderness Lodge because I feel like I keep seeing stuff. But I don't know. I feel like I get more and more excited the closer we get because 1, it gets more real, but 2, like Boulder Ridge, I've said this before, I love things that are new and fresh. Boulder Ridge was very recently finished with their renovations. And so we're going to get a room that has not had that much wear and tear. It's going to be shiny and new. It's going to be fresh. And I love that for us.
Sarah is manifesting because I know if we walk in there and it has the slightest bit worn, she's going to be like,
no, I don't care if it's a little worn or dinged up or whatever. It's like, everyone knows what I mean when I say it's like there's a difference between
facelifted.
Yeah, like
it doesn't have like dingy old carpet. It probably has like linoleum or whatever, which isn't like glamorous, but it does feel cleaner. It feels fresher.
Yeah, and I feel like the style of all of their renovations lately has been so cute and just really well done at incorporating characters and the stories of like the most relevant Disney characters of that theme. And some of their older original theming or like whatever their last renovation was era, it wasn't very themed to like Disney, and usually it was just kind of like blah. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah, there was a while there where they thought like a resort is either in your face, Disney neon color, pigmented,
like Pop Century.
It's either like Pop Century over the top, or it's not Disney themed at all. And I think the new wave of renovations is really learning to balance the Disney theming and the heart of the resort in a classy way that also makes Disney fans happy.
I love it. So excited. It's going to be fabulous. Let's go.
Let's go. I'm excited, if you can't tell.
Yes. Okay. Is that everything, Molly?
That's all I have.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. I can't wait to talk to you again next week about whatever fabulous topic we come up with. We have some ideas up our sleeves. Molly has some ideas up her sleeves. So we'll see what we bring. But as usual, feel free to give us a like or a comment or a review or whatever it is these days on this episode. And with that, we will see you later, Castle Dwellers.